Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following message that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a narration of a WhatsApp voice note that I received. The narration goes on like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I want to confess, but at the same time, I want to give other men advice. My advice, it goes on like this. When you are looking for a woman that you want to spend the rest of your life with, do not go for the looks. Rather, what you need to do is that you need to see if she has a deep wallet. If her wallet is deep, then she is the perfect one for you. That is what I did. When I was still back home, I was still desperate. But when I came here to the UK, I then took my time and I looked for someone, that woman that I am now staying with, but I targeted her because at that time she was going through a rough period in her life because she had lost her husband. I offered her a lot of comfort, including good sex as well. That is how she forgot about her husband. Now she is mine. It is not like I am a gold digger, but I have chosen not to use my heart when it comes to love, but to be more like a businessman, to always use my mind rather than to use my emotion. And in the process, I know that I have broken my former girlfriend's heart because me and her, we used to stay together at my parents' house when I was still back home. When I came here to the UK, I had avoided by all means not to get married to her because I didn't want to carry that baggage. She was really boring me because each and everything that I would get when I would go out hustling, I had to split the money, taking care of her, taking care of my parents, as well as her mom who is in the village. When I came here to the UK, I then told her that it is over. I cannot promise you anything because I want to move on with my life. She thought that I was joking until finally I heard that she traveled all the way from Zim going to South Africa, but I never bothered to contact her again. But here is my secret and my confession. Me and her, just before I had traveled to the UK, she spoke with me and she said that for me to feel safe, I want us to do this ritual more like a covenant so that my manhood will not be able to work. Then as for her, she won't be able to make love to any man. She said that this is the only way that we can protect our relationship. I agreed because at that time I was such a fool to listen to her. We went to this other traditional healer, but when we had left that traditional healer's house, I then returned back alone and I said, I am such a foolish man to have agreed to do this ritual. Can you please reverse this ritual, but on my side? At that time, I was selfish. I was not even thinking about her and the consequences of her not being able to make love to any other man except for me. Then that traditional healer, for a big sum of money, the rest of the money, I gave it to him when I came here to the UK because I spoke with him and I told him that I am on my way traveling to the United Kingdom. If you can release me from this charm, then I will send you some money. And he agreed. He removed that charm on my side, but on my girlfriend's side, I said, I do not want you to release that charm because at that time, I still had high hopes. I thought that maybe one day we were going to be together. But when I came here, I then met the love of my life, this woman that I am now staying with. We are busy preparing for my future generations. It is no longer about me, about my future generations. She is quite older than I am, but it is a sacrifice that I have decided to take so that my future grandkids can enjoy life. So my brother, I have come here on your platform just to confess because there are many times that I feel sorry for her because I know that she cannot have intercourse with any other man until I will have released her from these charms. The only problem is that when I tried to contact her relatives, they were so angry at me because of the way that I had dumped her. They refused to give me her WhatsApp phone numbers. But that is my confession. I don't know if in the future I'll be able to be in contact with her, but this is where I am currently. Yo, dear listeners, right there was the first message, a short voice note that I received, and I had to give you that narration. The following story reads like this. My brother, I am a woman who was married. My husband used to be in the army. As for my husband, he died 4 years ago. But the problem is that my husband, he left a curse behind, because my husband, when he died, I quickly started dating other men. And these men that I have dated, so far I have dated 5 men, including that boyfriend who was my boyfriend when my husband was still alive. My husband, most of the times, he was never at home. And these men that are in the army, usually they have a lot of girlfriends. Whenever he was not at home, when I would try to call him on his phone, then my husband will never pick up the call. So in the end, I said, to relax my mind, it is far much better for me to find my own partner, someone who loves me. But at the same time, I wanted someone who was married, who was not going to tell me to leave my husband, because I still loved my husband and I wanted my kids to have that stability of having both of their parents together. So when my husband found out that this is what he was doing, he kept quiet. But this thing, I think that it depressed him a lot. When he was at the barrack, at the army barrack, that was when my husband took rat poison and he committed suicide. And you know that with the Zimbabwean army, once you have committed suicide, then it means that those that are left behind, your wife and your children, they cannot have any of your pension money simply because you committed suicide. When my husband committed suicide, we could not get any benefits at all. So I just started staying in the villages. At that time, when my husband was still alive, my husband and I, we used to stay in an area, a big ghetto that is called Mufakose. But currently, I am stuck here in the villages, Brother Nashi, and I am looking for any kind of assistance, even if it means that there is someone that is in the diaspora that wants someone to look after their own house. Please help me. But know that my husband, he cursed me. This was what I was told. He had written a letter, but we were not allowed to get that letter. It was taken. I don't know what exactly was written on that letter that he left behind before he had drank the rat poison, but he blamed me. His own relatives blamed me as well. And he said that he had placed a curse on me so that any man that I will sleep with, that man will start to see that his manhood will start to get swollen. That is how my boyfriend, my first boyfriend, passed away. After my husband had been buried, I was really desperate. I wanted someone to take care of me, you know, the rentals and stuff like that. So when I returned back from the village after we had buried my husband, that man who was my first boyfriend came and he told me that he was going to try to assist me to pay for the rent as well as for the food. And he said that the condition was that I was not supposed to cheat on him. I was fine with that because he had healed my broken heart after my husband had broken my heart when he was cheating with his many girlfriends. The first night when we slept together, this was even before the cleansing ceremony, that cleansing ceremony that we do when you have lost your husband. So I just wanted to be with him and he wanted to be with me. We promised each other that we were not going to make love since that ceremony had not yet been performed. But throughout the night, you know, when you are lovers, the moment that you get into bed together, not wearing anything, you will end up making love. That is what we did. The next morning when we woke up, he started screaming. I asked him what was wrong with him. He then said, look. I then got up from the bed and I found out that his manhood, it was swollen. I then found out that his manhood was swollen and it was extra huge. And I asked him if it was painful. He said, yes, it is very painful. We tried to go around in secret, but unfortunately, he passed away. That was the first man that died because of this curse. That was the first man who died after he had slept with me because of the curse that was placed upon me by my late husband. I dated another guy, Brother Nashi, out of the pain of losing 2 men in the same year, but I stayed a little bit longer. Then I started dating this other man. We started sleeping together. When we started sleeping together, we were using protection. Unfortunately, on the day that we stopped using the condoms, that was when I infected him with the same STI that cannot be cured. I have tried to go to the doctors, but they do not even know what is wrong with me because I am not even HIV positive. They say that I do not have any STI at all. So this thing, it is just giving me sleepless nights. I do not know what to do anymore. Currently, I am just surviving, Brother Nashi. I am just surviving. I have lost all of these men, and my life, it is quite terrible. I even thought of an idea of going and to prostitute myself, but with this condition that I am having, am I not going to finish all the men in the villages? And I do not want people to know that this is what has been happening to me. If there is any prophet that can assist me, please help me. And if there is anyone that has their own property that they want a person to look after, I am willing to do so, even though I have a curse of bad luck that was placed by my husband upon me at the time when he committed suicide. And at the prophets where I have gone to, I have been told that my husband, his spirit is the one that walks in front of me. And if I date any man, what he will do is that he will start to beat that man on his manhood until it will get damaged. And then the man that I'll be dating will die as a result of those spiritual attacks. Please help me. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received. It was sent to me by one of our dear sisters. I then asked her, have you ever tried to find someone who can give you a place to stay? She then said, the problem that I am facing is that if someone tries to be good to me, like that couple that are there in South Africa, they have their home here in the village. So they said, you can look after our house, you can go and use our fields as much as you can, but we will not be paying you. You will be paying yourself. Even if you want to do some gardening projects, selling the vegetables, it is fine. I then asked her, so what went wrong, my sister? She then said that there was fire that just appeared from nowhere. This fire, it was just floating in the air. And when the neighbors saw that this was what was happening, they reported this matter to the village headman. And that couple that had offered me a place to stay, they were told everything that had happened by the village headman. And they said, if this is what is happening to you, if this is the kind of spirit that follows you, we do not want our house to be burned to the ground because we have offered you assistance. So the spirit of my late husband, the one who ended his own life, is following me and attacking me. That was the second message that our sister sent to us.